You don't want to mama kind one. Oh, ya tengo code. Ya, ang watu ni malele ang kwata ang muna kwa burongo tu. Tende ka kesha. Kung kwa burongo ni. One. Iya ja tama. One. One ma. Zero 53. Yeah. 44. 100. 0766 53.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so we'll open our session now, and I guess everyone is ready. I guess you have your pen and your notebook. I will not do any projection or a PowerPoint. I'll talk through my notes. So you need to actually be very attentive and take notes. Where you're not clear, please ask your questions. But most importantly, I think I will do the talking for the first 30 minutes. And then as I'm taking you through, you can actually jot down some of the questions or concerns that you have on each part of the discussions that I'm actually going to take you through. Then after 30 minutes, now going to give you an opportunity to ask a question or raise any concerns that you might actually have. So I'm having this call on in the car because power is apparently on. So I've put my phone on on charge on the car. So yeah, but it will all be well. So my name is Brian Kayongo. I'm an expert in fundraising, grant management, and sexual and reproductive health. So where do I work? I work for myself, but I've previously worked for a lot of organizations in Zambia and outside Zambia. I've worked for Action Aid as head of fundraising. I've worked for Zambia Open Community Schools as fundraising manager. I've also been an executive director of an organization called Adolescent Reproductive Health Advocates. I've worked for Oxfam as a funding manager. I've also worked for Media and Church Aid as senior fund acquisition and grants management advisor. I've worked for Fight Inequality Alliance as a global fundraising manager. So I've done fundraising for over 30 countries globally, including Africa, Asia, countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America. Yeah, so I think that is in short what I've done. I've just introduced myself on the aspect of the topic that I'm going to actually take you through today as a fundraising person. So before we start, I think I would like to know who is around here. So we introduce ourselves. So I'll be mentioning your first name as they appearing, then you introduce yourself and the organization where you are coming from. So I start with Gerard.
My name is Gerard Jungana. I'm the Executive Director for Youth Empowerment for Growth Initiative based in Umbwe District of Northwestern Province.
Thank you. Makambe.
My name is Makambe Namulonda. I'm the Managing Director for Sunny Foundation. It's a small startup organization that deals with skills development for young adults with intellectual disabilities. Thank you.
Ashing.
Hi, I'm Ashik. Hi, I'm Ashik from Sri Lanka. I am working in Saving Humanity Foundation as the manager, monitoring and evaluation. Thank you. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Ashink. Angela.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Mayamba. I am a provincial coordinator from Action Governance Forum. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Etty.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Betty. I'm a volunteer for Copper Zambia. Thank you.
Welcome, Chiwe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chiwe Lumpa. I'm the founder and executive director for Reach One Child Foundation. It's a startup, non-governmental organization that helps vulnerable children with education sponsorship. Thank you.
Thank you, Chilufia.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Chilufia Hampongo. I work with Treatment Advocacy and Literacy Campaign. I'm a program officer here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chimwemwe.
Hi everyone, my name is Chimwemwe Chikambala. I'm a founder of Ingwesa, an organization that seeks on improving financial inclusion in Zambia for young people and women. Thank you.
Thank you, Chisala.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chisala Mukti. I'm acting general manager for Mokong's Business Essentials Limited. So we're a company specialized in energy as well as business advisory.
Okay. Chishimba. Chishimba Msonda. It's not here. Cindy. Cindy. Not here. Donald.
Hi everyone, my name is Sonda Donald. I'm the president and the co-founder of Eagles of Change, which aims at raising awareness on the abuse of drugs, child marriages, as well as advocating for. Thank you.
Okay, Elvis. Elvis. Esther. Esther. Evelyn. Evelyn. Okay, Fumankile.
Hi everyone, my name is Fumanikile Lungani. I'm currently a secondee in the legal department at ABSA Bank Zambia PLC. I'm looking to set up something to provide legal literacy for SMEs. That's why I joined this call. Thank you.
Thank you. Grace?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Grace Chundama. I'm the founder and executive director of Caris Foundation. It's an NGO that aims to upskill educational needs and skills development for women in Northern Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you. Hansel Mwetwa?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hansel Mwetwa. I work for the Ministry of General Education.
Thank you. Ina?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Coming from the Youth Leadership Initiative of Zambia, an organization that has been established to build leadership and survival skills in young people.
Joyce Banda? Joyce?
Hi everyone. Joyce Banda from African Child and Youth Direction. Our organization is dealing with empowerment, SRHR, and community work.
Luis? Luis? Sanda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lois. I'm starting up something, a foundation that aims to keep the girls in school. So that's why I'm here.
Okay. Makambe.
Introduce myself.
Makambe.
Sir, I already introduced myself.
Ah, okay. Mambepa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mambepa Nakazwe. I'm a programs officer at Coparos, Zambia. Thank you.
Okay. Martin Nkoma. Mwansa Kanyata.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica Kanyanta. I'm currently the co-founder of the Touch of Health Network. It's a youth-led organization that focuses on the integration of resources to address gender-based violence against women and girls into the existing healthcare services. Thank you.
Thank you. Milimo.
Good morning, everyone. This is Milimo Nyaminga, founder of Tantilo Foundation. We're trying to address sexual behavior change in adolescents. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Michelle. Michelle. Michelle.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Malunga, Advocacy and Communications Officer.
Okay, Mutila.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amutila Napanje, and I'm the founder of Legacies of Love, a startup organization that deals with the drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Thank you.
Mwemba.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mwemba Hamsia. I'm the Finance and Administration Manager for Coparos Zambia.
Natasha Chola Mkuka.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Natasha Cholamkuka, and I come from Youth Unite Zambia. Our focus is on advocacy for good governance and SRHR. Thank you.
Neria Daka. Nandwe.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, team. I hope I'm audible. My name is Ngandwe. I work with an organization called SAT, SRHR Africa Trust Zambia. We're a youth-focused organization working around, as the name suggests, SRHR, community systems for HIV, and meaningful youth participation. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Tembo. I work for Lusaka City Council, Public Health Department, under Health Promotions Unit.
Thank you, Rabson.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rabson Sakala, Secretary General for Community Transformation Network, a new youth-led movement that focuses on promoting the lives of youths, that is in education, culture, and health. Thank you.
Raphael.
Good morning, everyone. This is Raphael Mesa, representing the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI. So our major purpose as YALI is to advocate for social justice and social accountability, as well as all other issues that are affecting the youth in Zambia, in the region, and Africa at large. Thank you.
Welcome. Ruvusaran.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rudharan Sandrapale. I'm a member of Youth Parliament in Sri Lanka, and I'm also the president of Sati Youth Club. I'm working with SRHR issues in Sri Lanka.
Smasiku.
Yeah, morning everyone. My name is Asmas Kusumesi, Programs Officer, Coparos.
Veronica.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Veronica Musa. I'm the founder of Core Girls Initiative. It's an organization which sensitizes and educates young girls on the impacts of early teenage pregnancies and reproductive health diseases. Thank you.
Stella. Kelly. Kelly. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourself. At this particular point, I would like to call upon Natasha Kaoma, the Corporate Zambia CEO, to introduce herself and officially open this session. Tasha.
Thanks, Brian. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to see all of you, and I would like to welcome you all to this meeting today. Thank you so much for signing up, and thank you for telling someone to tell someone to come. I really look forward to seeing people engage during this process, and thanks, Brian, for agreeing to do this and to take this up. First of all, the reason we called for this meeting was because we are a youth-led organization and we are growing, and we started from scratch. We are not where we want to be yet, but we believe that we want to take people along with us as we rise and as we grow to become the biggest youth-led organization in the country. And so this is a platform for us to learn. And you may see that our staff are also on this call because we understand that we are also all learning, and this is a learning process for all of us. So I just hope that we will engage. This is also a good opportunity to look for contacts. There are a number of people that were introducing themselves, and the purpose was so that people can know each other and people can get each other's contacts in the process. So it would also be great if you type your email or type your name in the chat box as well, so that if someone wants to find you, they can do that. So over to you, Brian. I look forward to this session and I look forward to further engagements. There will be a questionnaire that will be sent after this meeting, and the idea is for you to share with us what further sessions you will need, and we will be happy to host them in the near future. Thank you so much, and over to you, Brian.
Thank you so much, Natasha, and everyone else. In case I left other people who have not introduced themselves, feel free to type in your name, your organization, and what you are doing in the chat box. I think the team will be able to pick that and include you on the attendance register. So today we are discussing proposal writing. I know that this is quite a huge topic. I was wondering when I was actually preparing in less than 1 hour to ensure you guys get the gist of it. But I'm thinking that among other topics that you might need to suggest to Coparos, I think you need to suggest this again, because this for me will be like part one. I will touch here and there, but I think it will not be very conclusive because it's quite a huge topic. So I may actually term this as proposal writing part one, so that then if there will be part two and part three, that is actually. Can we have everyone muting? Can we have everyone muting? Who is unmuted here? Katongo, please mute. Vinadi, mute. Yeah. So I was saying that we can term this part one, so that then we can have part two and part three to go a little bit in details of the different structure of the proposal. Yeah, that would be my suggestion. If the team will actually be able to actually be kind enough to actually include that. So if we have three parts, I think that will be quite intensive for all of you to be able to grasp. So what is a proposal? Is there anyone who would actually describe what a proposal is? Just raise your hand. I think there's a part where you can actually raise your hand and I will be able to pick on you. What do you think a proposal is? What's a proposal, anyone? Veronica?
Okay, thank you. I think a proposal is a suggestion.
It's a suggestion?
Yeah, a plan or a suggestion, yes.
Okay.
I think in my own way.
A plan, a suggestion, anyone?
Raphael here.
Yes, Raphael.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, go
in
ahead.
My own view and in my own view, I understand a proposal as a piece of writing where you want to execute a particular project, and or maybe you want to solve a particular problem. Then now you are putting it into writing where you even state the objectives and the process that you are going to use for you to complete that project of yours.
Thank you so much. Innocent?
Okay, so for me, I think I understand a proposal to be a statement of intent. So it's basically trying to state what you intend to do. For example, if you intend to implement an SRHR project. So the proposal basically brings out what you intend to do and achieve by implementing that project. It's more like selling your idea.
Selling your idea. Thank you. Any last person? Rapson?
Yes, I think in my own understanding, a proposal is a detailed request on what you intend to do, and that detailed request, it has objectives, budget, logic framework, as well as how you are going to do what you are going to do, and the specific duration and the budget within which you want to do what you want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can all lower down your hands. Yeah, so true. A proposal is basically a detailed statement of intent. As you indicated, it is actually a statement that actually presents what you intend to actually do, what you intend to solve. So it actually has a problem itself, and goals, objectives, activities, and processes that you want to actually undertake in order to solve a particular problem. So I'm not going to be academic. I want to be as much practical as possible. So why do we write a proposal? It's because there's a problem that we want to sort out. All of us here come from different organizations, and those organizations are actually in order to actually address a particular problem or issue in our society. It might be at country level, it might be at community level, it might be at regional level. So there should be a problem somewhere that we want to actually address. As we were introducing ourselves, we actually indicated which organization we're coming from and what our different organizations are actually doing, the goals of those organizations. So everything else before you write a proposal should start from what you are and what problem do you want to solve. So your organization, so before you think about proposal, I know some of you are actually starting up organizations. They're actually at a very lower phase. We've not yet taken off. You want to take off and so on. So the starting point is you need as an organization to actually have a problem statement to say, what problem do we want to actually tackle? Some of you, it's children's rights that are being violated in a particular community and so on, and you want to address that. Some of you is access to reproductive health for adolescents. Some of you is youth participation, young people that are not participating in government governance processes, and so on and so forth. So there are different problems which each of your organization wants to solve. Some of you, it's climate change. There's a lot of charcoal burning in your communities and so on. So those are various problems that you actually want to solve. Some of you, it's not one problem. There are actually various problems that you actually want to solve. Maybe it's access to reproductive health, a combination of youth leadership. Young people do not have skills to actually lead. We want to build their capacity. So it's some of you have various problems that you want to actually solve. Hence, at the end of the day, you'll have that problem statement very well articulated in your profile as an organization. But then from just the profile of your organization, you'll have objectives that are set for your organization to actually address those problems that you want to actually solve. And you have a geographical cover where that problem
Hello, guys. Sorry, I dropped off. I don't know what is happening with my internet. Hello? Are you able to get me?
Yes, Brian, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
we
you so
can
much.
hear you.
So that is really where it starts from. So before any proposal is actually developed, you'll have, a problem that you'd like to actually address. And that problem falls within a particular geographical area, and it will have a specific, target audience that it actually affects, So target audience here can be young people, it can be children, it can be elderly, it can be, so the target audience, the target population that you'd like to actually address, that problem is actually affecting. So that is where it starts from. Now, let me jump further now to discuss the proposal structure. Before you actually develop your proposal, there are certain things that actually takes place. Either you are actually responding to a call from the donor, you are just putting up your proposal and specific donors. There's call for proposals where donors invite you to actually submit proposals. There's actually where you actually put up your proposal to target specifically specific donors or specific funders that you'd want to actually get support from. So let me take you through a standard structure of a proposal. Now, the first thing is that each proposal should have a cover page. Are we together?
Yes, we
are. We together? Yes, so each proposal should have a cover page. On your cover page, that's where we actually see, that's where we are actually going to identify you. Whether you are an individual or you are an organization, and you have a logo or you have your picture that identifies who you are. So on the cover page, we'll actually see your logo, whether it's an organization logo, we'll see your name in full, and we'll see your address, where you are actually located. So this can be postal address or physical address, and then we'll see the contacts of your organization, basically. So that's the cover page. That's what actually a standard proposal look like. So we'll see the cover page. Then secondly, on the second page, we'll see the executive summary. Of course, some would put the second page, they would put the content, like the table of content, which now like categorizes on page 1 to just guide the reader what they are going to see in the detailed proposal. But generally, that is just for guidance. Otherwise, the second page should be the executive summary. The executive summary summarizes the whole proposal in a way of actually bringing out what your objectives are, what you are as an organization in summary, what your objectives are, what this project or what the proposal that you want to actually put forward. What activities you are actually proposing under this particular proposal, and how you are going to actually undertake this, and how you are going to evaluate, and so on. So it's a one-pager. Some it's even like a half a pager summary of what you intend to do specifically for this proposal, for this project that you are actually proposing. So that is the executive summary. So the executive summary just summarizes the whole proposal. In fact, as somebody that have evaluated or that have looked at proposals before, I don't go into the details when I'm actually, I want to consider, because sometimes donors receive huge amounts of proposals. So if I want to actually select which proposals I want to read further, I'll just go on the executive summary. And if the executive summary doesn't give me the picture of what this project is all about, or whether it is actually aligned to what, if it's a call that you are responding to a call, to what we actually want, then I'll put that proposal away. I'll not even read the details. So the executive summary is the punchline of the proposal. You get it right, then you are good to go. Someone will be interested in reading the details. Then the next part of the proposal is actually a situation analysis. A situation analysis gives some kind of, researched data, in terms of giving us what this problem is all about and the magnitude of this problem. So some people, before they actually undertake writing a project proposal, they do a baseline to just give an understanding of what this problem is, so that then you have a structured way of presenting the problem to the donor. So the situation analysis should do actually, for example, if you are doing a community program, if you are doing the community project, you can actually start from analyzing this problem. Maybe at national level, you pick the data from national level, you bring it to provincial, you bring it to community, the baseline at community level. So you need to have a detailed understanding of the problem. So in the situation analysis, please bring out the data, the evidence. You can even quote specific, research, baseline, and so on, that were done by others. If at all you do not have the capacity to do that, that research or baseline before you write the proposal, you can quote from others. For example, those that are doing adolescent health issues, You have the National Adolescent Health Strategy, you have the CSE curriculum, you have the Zambia Demographic Health Survey. All those you can actually quote them based on the problem that you're actually trying to sort out in the proposal. So you bring out the evidence. That becomes your evidence of, you know, what is prevailing in terms of the issue. So that is the situation analysis. From the situation analysis, basically you go to the proposed project itself. Under the proposed project, you will have a goal of the project. What is the goal? What do you want to achieve at the end of undertaking this particular or implementing this proposal? What do you want to achieve? So this is the higher level, you know, the higher level outcome that you want to see. Mainly the goal is not achievable by yourself alone. You'd like to see young people that are happy. You'd like to see young people that are accessing reproductive health. You'd like to see children that have attained their their rights in terms of maybe access to water or education. So this is something that you'd want to see in the lives of your target group broadly. So a goal is not, sometimes it's not attainable by you alone. It is attainable because you are actually contributing towards that future that you want to see for children in your community, in Zambia, regionally, and so on. You know, so for a goal, it needs to be as broader as possible. And when phrasing the goal, I think in part 2, I'll go in details to just show you how you can actually phrase a goal, how a goal needs to actually be phrased. And then you have objectives. Objectives are the ones that now you are accountable for. You need to set objectives that are SMART. SMART means that they need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, they need to be realistic, they need to be time-bound, meaning that they need to be clear when reading them. For example, you need to set an objective that shows maybe you want to increase knowledge among so many young people, you know, that is specific, measurable, you put a number there, time-bound, you put by when that you need actually to achieve that, you know. Attainable, it's something that should be really reasonable, that you know that, okay, by putting that number, you will be able to achieve it. Realistic, again, it's about how realistic is the target that you are putting in there and so on. In part 2, I'll again be able to explain that in more details in how you phrase specific objectives. So objectives, you are accountable for them. Activities, these are processes. What is it that you are going to do to actually achieve your objectives? So under each objectives, there will be specific activities. For example, if it is an objective to ensure you increase knowledge among 1,000 young people in a particular community, you need maybe to train some, you need to support awareness activities, you need to support some football activities as part of awareness and so on. So those processes that you're undertaking towards the objectives are what activities are. Some people actually phrase objectives as activities and activities as objectives. That is not supposed to be the case. Again, in part 2, if we're given space, I'm going to demonstrate on how activities can be better phrased. Then beyond activities, you now need to actually, you know, come to a part which we call the theory of change. The theory of change is basically a statement on how you intend to, how your organization intends to see change happening as a result of the activities, the objectives, the goals that you've set for yourself to achieve in this particular document called the proposal. So what is the theory of change? It is basically, you know, the end result that you actually want to see and how that is. It's a statement basically that it describes how you do want to see this change happening gradually. So if it is a 2-year, 3-year project, how do you actually involve communities? How do you ensure that there are different stakeholders are actually engaged and so on in order for you to arrive at that change that you actually, the beneficiaries and everyone. So it is basically a statement that describes your way of doing things to arrive at the change that you want. So that's the theory of change. So that is very also critical to put in the proposal, because you are simply demonstrating that it is not only setting the goals, it is not only setting objectives, but we have a way in which we synthesize the participation of different groupings or different stakeholders in order for us to achieve this change that we are talking about. Other donors will ask you, how are you going to ensure gender inclusion? How are you going to ensure youth participation? How do you ensure stakeholders mobilization and stakeholders participation in the project? So all that add into some kind of a theory of change. So in there, you'll have actually the different strategies that you employ to ensure that you actually achieve this change that you are actually envisaging to achieve. Then beyond that, there's a component which the donor would like to see. It is called sustainability. You want this support from us for 1 year. How do you ensure that the results of this support is going to be sustained beyond the period of the project? That is very key. So you need to demonstrate that this support is going to be sustained in one way or another. And as you are defining your theory of change, that also will come in, because there will be a component of capacity building of young people, as well as ensuring that you are working within the system that is already established, such that beyond the support, the one-off support that you're asking for, there will be continuation of activities and intervention beyond the scope of work that you've actually produced. So that is the component of sustainability, very important in the proposal. You need to outline how you are actually intending to ensure that the activities and the objectives of this project and the results that come as a result of this project is actually going to continue. There will be continuity. Some would actually say that we already have funding that is actually going to take over from this funding that you are giving us. Or perhaps this is just a starter. We're actually now going to go into the main kind of a proposal that we are already developing, and it's assured to be funded going into the mid to long term from this other particular donor. Or maybe we have other funding that is supplementing this particular funding. This particular funding will solidify what we are already doing as an organization in a long term. So there's a different way of justifying continuity and sustainability. Again, in part 2, I can actually give you examples of some of the ways you can phrase sustainability and continuity in a project proposal. Then the other component that is very important is the M&E. You may actually have realized that on a proposed project, I actually skipped out results, because you want to actually bring this out in the results framework. The monitoring and evaluation, some they call it MER, some they call it MIU. MIU means the monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. Others call it monitoring, evaluation, and reporting, MER. So different donors and different partners call it differently. But at the end of it, this is a very important component of a project proposal. In fact, for those that do project proposal, and if you are doing it as a team, I would like you to actually prioritize this part. This is number 1 that you start with, because it's a framework that shows you the whole project and how the project will actually evolve. It has, objectives. It has, outputs. Outputs, in this case, they are immediate results that you actually see after implementing an activities. For example, let me just summarize it in this way. A monitoring and evaluation framework should be able to show you the goal. I told you the goal is not, you cannot attain a goal. It is, you can contribute to a goal, you know? So a goal is linked to what we call impact. So your goal that you've actually outlined on proposed project, in the framework, it will show your goal on the left side and impact on the right side. So your goal will lead to the impact of the project. So once the goal has been achieved, as I said, you don't achieve it yourself, but collectively with other contributors, you will see the impact of your project in the community, you know? So the goal is directly related to the impact. The objectives are directly related to outcomes. So objectives are related to outcomes. And at this stage of result, you are actually accountable. When you achieve your objectives, you are going to see outcome results. So results at different level. They are at impact level, they are at outcome level, then they are at the output level. At output level, they are linked to activities. For example, the training that we are doing here, once we finish, and if COPA was targeted to train 100 young people in proposal writing skills, after this training, they'll count how many people they've been able to train, or how many people have actually attended this particular session. That is an output. The activity is what we are doing now. We are implementing proposal writing training as an activity, targeting 100 young people or young leaders. After this training, they'll count how many have been reached. That is an output result. So many young people have been trained in proposal writing skills. That is an output. So output are related to activities. You finish implementing an activity, you achieve a result called an output result, or a result at output level. So that is how they actually move. Then within the framework, you actually have inputs. Inputs is what you require for you to actually undertake an activity. So before this activity was undertaken, Dr. Natasha and the team had to look for a facilitator. They had to look for internet. They had to make sure that the Zoom whatever is set up. They had to advertise. Those are inputs, you know. Those are inputs that you are actually needing for an activity to be successful. So all those will actually be contained in a results framework. It will definitely be able to actually address all the questions that someone requires in order to see how the flow, you know, of how the flow of the proposal is going to be, or the project is going to be. Then it also contains targets. Targets, these are actually numerical, qualitative or quantitative, you know, results that you want to see. So you can have, at the end of all these projects, 1,000 young people would have been empowered in leadership, in proposal writing. So that you are going to find in the framework. Then the other component that you are going to find in the framework is the assumptions. Assumptions in the M&E framework, you do want to act, what you are actually seeing as an eventuality that can actually impact on this proposal positively or negatively. They are positive assumptions. So that also you can look out for that. For example, if you are saying an objective, you've set an objective of ensuring that young people have skills so many young people have skills in proposal writing, you can put an assumption of maybe young leaders that you are targeting willingness to participate in the proposal writing workshop. That's a positive assumption. If young people are willing to come and participate, if they are not willing to come and participate, even if you put a target or an objective of empowering these young people in the proposal writing skills, if they don't show up, you will not be able to achieve that. So that's an assumption. Then also within the framework, you find means of verification, a component in some proposals called means of verification. Means of verification is basically what somebody is going to look out for in order to justify that a particular objective is achieved or a particular activity has been undertaken. For example, now we are having this training. What is the means of verification for me to verify that this activity took place? Obviously, this is not in the physical space, so we can't say pictures because we can't take pictures. Maybe we can say a recording of a Zoom recording, a link to a Zoom recording. It's a means of verification. If we were in a space where we are able to register, we can say an attendance register is a means of verification. If after this activity, Dr. Natasha and team will actually produce a report, then that is a means of verification. It's actually an activity report, because that report would talk about what actually transpired. So let me rush to the last component. So beyond the M&E framework, you'll have a work plan. A work plan is basically going to contain activities and timelines when activities. So the timelines will be, so it will be in the form of Gantt chart. Gantt chart is basically it's an Excel template, or it can be even in Word, where you actually just plot when each activity is going to actually be undertaken, whether it's quarterly or it's monthly or it's weekly. So you plot, like, I think you've done a work plan before, but different donors presenting how you present a work plan. Then the last but not the least is a budget. A budget is actually a presentation of inputs that you require for you to undertake the project or the activities, the project activities. So in there, you'll have activities, you have inputs, whether you want to plan papers, you want a venue, you want to buy bundles, at how much, times how many times, then how much is the total, and so on, and how much per activity, and then you actually now go into other administrative things that you require, maybe salaries and so on. You push in that until you reach the total amount that you require for you to undertake this whole proposal, for you to implement this whole proposal. Again, in part 2 and part 3, I'll take you through what a good budget looks like, what a reasonable budget looks like in terms of budget split between budget lines, budget split between inputs, and so on. What is allowable with different donors, what is not allowable. So I'll be able to actually demonstrate that. So in short, as I said, I was just summarizing for you what proposal writing entails. This is part 1. As I said, if there will be part 2, I'll go into details per each part of the proposal, how to get it right. How do you get it right? What is the content that is required in there? So that then we get the gist and we're able to actually do this together. So I think in short, this is the end of my presentation. I know we have 7 minutes remaining, but I can invite questions at this particular stage.
Thanks, Brian. I'm not sure what process we're following in terms of asking questions, but I raised my hand. I'm wondering if I can go ahead with my question.
Ngandwe, you can go ahead.
All right. First of all, thank you for your presentation. I think it was very well explained. I'm looking forward to part 2 and 3. I'm just wondering if proposal writing follows the same layout if you are in an alliance. Say you are 2 or 3 youth-led organizations that want to apply for the same grant, or you want to respond to a call for proposals. Does it take the same? Appearance, or maybe it's different? And also maybe when you're talking about budget lines, I'd also want you to touch on how that works if you're working in an alliance. And then also I'm wondering if you'll be able to share some of the resource materials that you've been using. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngandwe. Any other question?
Raphael here, maybe I can also ask a question.
Yes.
Now, since we're talking about the proposal writings, now there are a lot of proposals that are there, and one of them is advocacy proposal. Now, advocacy proposal, since it's not a service or a goods provision proposal, an advocacy proposal is major aim is to advocate on behalf of individuals, to amplify the voices of the voiceless. Now, when you are writing the budget for an advocacy proposal, and now you mentioned the component of salaries. Now, most funders, they do not take that part of paying the volunteers the salaries. Now, what kind of wordings should we use to stress that such kind of individuals should also be paid, either salaries or commissions or stipends or any other forms of payment for personal gain? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any last one in this round?
Yeah, sure, sir. My question is, it concerns the newly formed organizations or other youth movements. Now, in most of these fundings, when they advertise for funding, these donors and other organizations, they usually put a clause, or rather a statement where maybe they say those that are eligible for this project should maybe have executed the project before, or maybe should have been in operation for 2 years, or must have 1 year experience. Now, what is it that new organizations should do when applying for such projects so that they can stand a chance to be shortlisted amongst those? Because usually it stands out as a setback most of the times when new organizations are applying. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start with the format. Formats, when it's a call for proposal, formats are actually given. But if it's not a call for proposal and you are just putting a consortium proposal together, pretty much, yes, this is the format. For example, if you are 3 organizations, you need to demonstrate in the background. Did I talk about the background? Yeah. In the background, you need to actually demonstrate the capacities of the different consortium members. If it's an alliance which has different members and the alliance is applying on different on behalf of members, again they will have to demonstrate in the background that we are an alliance of so many organizations, or we are a consortium of so many organizations comprising of ABCD, and the reason why we came together is to actually address this common, and this is our strength. You can actually demonstrate your strength within a summary, in a very summarized way. And then the problem statement will still be the same, because you've come together as a consortium to address a particular problem. It can be problem or problems, whether you're addressing 3 problems and so on, but you've come in consortium and you have demonstrated the comparative advantage of each of the consortium members in the proposal, you know. And then in the budget, again, you have demonstrated, you know, which activities will be implemented by who, and then that will further be broken down in the activity plan, because in the activity plan you indicate who will undertake what activity when, you know. So these basic requirements that I've actually spoken about apply in every proposal. You find them in different formats, but in terms of the content, you still need to actually put that. For some, they exonerate some information, but generally what we've discussed is what you find in each and every proposal. When then, in terms of issues of budget and salaries, inclusion and so on, for small organizations and so on, again, that you have to appeal to Dr. Natasha and team to organize a session on fundraising skills, because there's a difference between fundraising skills and proposal writing. You have to have skills that will be able to actually be able to negotiate with donors, how you negotiate with donors in terms of budgets, how you actually realign the budget to ensure that it includes specific roles that are key to the proposal that you are actually applying for. Donors usually put ceilings. They will tell you you can only put salaries up to 20%. You can put indirect cost up to 7%. 60% will be for activities, 40% will be for administration. So they will limit you based on percentages and so on. But again, fundraising skills comes in. How well do you know those donors? How do you get background information in terms of justifying why you need to actually break those barriers in terms of percentage split and so on? And I said in part 2 or part 3, I should be able to talk to you in details in terms of how you do budget splits, how you ensure that the budget is aligned in such a way that it is able to actually cover the different budget lines that you actually have. Then for new organizations, again, yeah, you are right. There are organizations that would tell you you need to have audit reports, you have to have this and that. But again, appeal to the team, or any of you can take it up for a session on experiences that you've had as an organization that are at different level now. I was an executive director of an organization. We started from somewhere, we grew up to somewhere. That is that is 3-4 years old. They started from somewhere, they are somewhere now. How did they maneuver, you know, these same ideas of 2 years experience and so on? How do they gain that experience to a level where they're able to now garner so much funding from different donors at this stage? So that only calls for an experience session where you share different experiences as youth organizations at different level of development. So I may not tell you the specific answer, but what I can tell you is that it is possible. When you are starting an organization, you don't start from the top, you start from down there. And understand that starting from down there is not as easy. You have to actually grow from that level to somewhere. It's not a one-day thing. It's a thing like you just registered and you want to have 1 million in your account. You have to actually grow from step to step, and there are dynamics that are actually involved as you are growing. There are certain lessons that you learned. There are certain, you know, changes that goes on within an organization. Again, a change. I suggest again to say there can be a session on organization development, for example, so that then you understand the different phases of an organization from the time it is formed to the time it needs to actually mature and be stable to actually be able to manage. So I think that will be my answer for now. Now I need to be guided, Dr. Natasha, our time is up. I need to be guided whether we can take some more questions or we can end it here.
Well, I think Michelle would be in a good position, but just off the top of my head, I would say we can spend the next 7 minutes wrapping up. I can see that there are some hands that are up, and I have a soft spot for making sure we answer all the questions before a session. So without going beyond the time limit, I just want us to agree that we will be done by at least 11:15. We'll spend the next 7 minutes answering more questions, and then the last 5 minutes just talking about the next steps. So if people can type in the chat box that we close at 11:15 and are agreeable, then we can take on more questions. And the last 5 minutes, I think Michelle from our team can let us know on the next steps.
Thanks very much, Doc. So next questions, let me take the next three hands.
Yeah, Brian, this is here.
Yes.
Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that presentation. Very insightful. My question is very brief. There has been several debates on the issue of producing evidence on the situation analysis. Others would say you should have to produce at least 5 kind of references. So according to you, how many reference evidence would be ideal to put on the situation analysis?
Thank you. Next question. Next question. I can't see the hands for some reason. I don't know.
All right. Can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, you can go ahead, Kingsley.
Yeah, this is Kingsley Chipuru from Youth Care Impact Limited. I wanted to find out on the issue of taxation as regards to proposals. How does the government come in when you are funded as an organization? Where does the government come in with an issue of or an aspect of tax in there? I don't know how you can elaborate on that. Thank you.
Okay, let me take last question in this row. Yes. Who is next? I can't see the hand. Do we still have any hand?
Not at the moment, Brian. I think you can go ahead and answer the ones that have already been asked.
All right, I have a question.
Okay, yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. We've lost him. Okay, so let me answer this quickly. On references, I tell you that practically, I think there are no specific, there's no donor who would tell you the number of references. It's basically making your case. For a proposal, it's not like an assignment at the school. It is basically within the limits. If they've told you a situation analysis is two-paged maximum, you can get as many references as you want to justify your case, because that's where your justification will come from. The reason why you want to undertake this project is because there's a problem. So you are defining that problem in the situation analysis. So it doesn't matter whether it's 100 references, as long as they meet the requirement that has been prescribed in the donor format. But I can tell you, standard for the situation analysis maximum should be a two-pager. It should be a two-paged, reference. I mean, situation analysis, because very few donors would like to read a 100-paged proposal. So two-paged maximum is good. I'll be happy to review that. But then in terms of strengthening your case, you can refer to as many research as possible, but also refer to your experiences. A lot of people only put figures based on their on what others have done, but also you can put you can describe your problems based on your own organization experience on the ground. You can also refer to your own baseline, or whether it's a baseline that you've done or it's a data collection arrangement that you've done. You can use those figures, because that now goes to it will show me that you are actually on the ground and you understand the problem well. So I think that's what I can say. So it doesn't matter. Taxation, when you are doing a proposal, you're expected to factor in the budget and in the, I didn't talk about the risk analysis, right? Because this is not a standard. Other people want you to do that, others don't want. You need to put in what the environment, what the environment you are operating in require. If government require that you pay, you do your returns as an organization every year, in fact, that is required because there's no donor that is going to work with an organization that is not complying with the laws of a country. So if you're a registered organization, make sure that every year you do your annual returns. Then you are actually also submitting tax. There are different taxes that you submit as a non-profit making organization. For example, you actually give tax on for all your employees that you are employing. You are paying ZRA for their pay as you earn pay. Then you are also paying NAPSA. If you are paying salaries, you have to pay NAPSA. You have to pay workers' compensation because you have people that are working within an office environment. Some go in the field, so they must be covered with workers' compensation fund. You need to pay NIMA. NIMA is an insurance now, this national health insurance, because it's a requirement, it's law that when you have employees now, they have to be covered under NIMA. So you need to actually pay those statutory obligations. We call them statutory obligation because you can't avoid them. They are law. If you're not complying, that's a problem with the donor. I think that is all what I had, Michelle. Do I still have other questions?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I can.
All right. All right. So I just wanted to ask about the objectives. I know there was a time I was doing research. I was told that objectives have to be about 3 or 4 maximum. So is it the same with a proposal?
Yeah, so for objectives, there should not be a list of objectives going into like activities. I think objectives, you are better off having 2, 3. I think maximum 4, you are right. Because if you have 5, 7 objectives, that is like now your strategy. It's like the strategic plan. For a proposal, you need to limit the number of objectives so that then they are broader enough to cover a number of actions that you need to undertake to achieve that. But for bigger proposals that are 10 years, 5 years, they would have more than 4 objectives, but it's not reasonable. I will not be convinced if I'm reviewing a proposal for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years with more than 4 objectives. That is very unrealistic to achieve.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so overall, proposal writing is a skill. It's not just knowledge, it's a skill. And that's why I was saying that you cannot impart this skill in 1 hour. You need like to go in details to actually demonstrate, how you get things done in every part of the proposal. So it is a skill. Fundraising is again a skill, it's a competence that you actually acquire on how to go around, certain barriers which donors put in place that scare a lot of organizations and so on. Again, this is something that can be imparted in individuals, but also you need to be passionate as a leadership in an organization to be able to get around these jargons and requirements for donors. Organization development is basically a process that you need to understand as an organization to say, okay, from a start, this is how we start, and we're expected to pass through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phases before we get there and begin to actually be a performing organization. So that can also be done. It's a whole series of it, and Michelle is listening here with the colleagues. These are topics that are very key to starting organizations, and this is a very good thing for me that you are doing. You can actually get organization to actually thrive in the work which they are actually doing by imparting these particular skills. At this point, I'll hand over to Michelle for next steps and closing by Natasha. Thank you so much, guys, and all the best, and see you next time, if God willing.
Thank you so much, Brian, for that amazing session. I must say it was very, very insightful. And I believe that I do not just speak for myself, but for everyone who was able to attend the session. And we definitely look forward to having part 2 and part 3. So we will have a meeting with Brian for everyone who's been asking when we will be able to have part 2 and part 3 of the session. So we'll be able to advise after we have our meeting on the days that he will be available, but we intend to have these 2 sessions, part 2 and part 3, sometime next week. So be on the lookout. I have typed here in the chat, I've sent a Google form. This is just meant to help us evaluate how today's session went and any other thoughts that you might have. And like Brian has said, it's something that we cannot do in 1 hour. So we're hoping that this could be a build up to an amazing relationship with all of you here. I did also note that we got everyone's emails through the registration forms that you were filling in, and we will be able to share, number 1, a presentation of what was being discussed today. And then 2, I will also be able to share the evaluation. If some people are not able to view the chat, I'll be able to share the evaluation as well with you there, the link to the form, so that you're able to just fill that in. And then I'll also be able to share the recording of the session as well. So yes, we're definitely looking forward to more amazing sessions like this one. And we are trying by all means to ensure that we meet your needs and nobody is left out. So please feel free to send in your suggestions, your questions, any topics that we might be able to tackle in the future. But I think for now, let's concentrate on the proposal writing, part 2 and part 3. So we'll be able to communicate on the next steps via email. So do expect an email from me very soon with the confirmed dates after we have our meeting with Brian. I don't know if anyone has any further questions, but from our end, we would just like to appreciate everyone for taking the time out and being with us today. It's very overwhelming. The response has been amazing, and we are so grateful that you could make it. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions in the chat or?
Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Me, not necessarily a question, but I just have a recommendation.
Yes,
first
please.
of all, yeah, thank you very much for this very insightful meeting that we're just from having. Now, I've noticed something that has been bringing a lot of youth-led organizations into decline and into collapse. Quite all right, Mr. Moderator illustrated on how a proposal writing should be done and the structures that we should follow. Now, the major component of every proposal is the finances. That is why we are writing a proposal, because we are soliciting for funds from potential funders. Now, what really happens is here is an organization. They're going to sit, they're going to have a round table meeting, and they're going to write the objectives and the budget, very good budget on how they're going to spend those funds. Catastrophe always arises when those money now comes, when the funders have spent that kind of the money to such an organization. Infidelity comes in now. When they said that they are going to buy, let's say, 50 laptops, they are going to start compromising with the quantities in that budget line. So my appeal to corporates is that they should start considering on training us, especially as the youth-led organization, particularly on budgeting and fundraising. We should always stick to our budget constraints and our budget lines. How we stressed in our proposal, how we are going to spend that kind of money, we should always be sticking to that. I'm speaking right now, quite all right, I registered under the Young African Leaders Initiative, but I'm representing a lot of other youth-led organizations, and I've seen how a lot of them are collapsing. It is because of the infidelity on the way that they are spending their money. So if you can start considering training a lot of these youth-led organizations, how to stick to the budgets and to spend them for the intended purposes. I think that could be a very good thing if you can include such kind of topics in the next meeting that you are going to conduct. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raphael. We are definitely taking into consideration all the suggestions that you guys are making, and we will definitely do our level best to meet everyone's needs. Because like you said, I think there are various organizations, and various organizations have different needs and abilities. And so it is important for us to also try as much as possible to see how best we can meet these needs. So thank you so much for that. Is there anyone else before we close off? So just a reminder, the link has been shared in the chat.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I think these lessons are very nice and they can't just go without any form of documentation and evidence. I was suggesting, why can't you as an organization, why can't you provide us with some certifications at the end of the session? I don't know if that's the view of everyone. Suggestion there. Thank you.
Thank you, Kingsley. So yeah, so those are just some of the suggestions that you can also include even in the evaluation form, so that we can, even as we make that submission to the rest of the team, we have a backing that it came from one of the participants, and this is how people are feeling. Thank you so much for that contribution. Okay, so I think on that note, we have gone over our time limit. We were given up to 11:15 and now it's 11:21. So on behalf of Coparos Zambia, thank you so much to everyone that made the time for this session. So do look out for that email. And if you need to reach us, please do so via our email, info@coparoszambia.org. Thank you so much and see you for the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.